assure everybody, the Christian community and indeed the entire people of Gombe State, that this thing will not pass deliberated upon.
Tragedy in Gombe as vehicle runs into Easter Monday procession.
Boko Haram is now lurking mostly around the borders, especially in the dangerous and inaccessible areas of the Tumbus, the islands.
Nigeria and Chad renew offensive against Boko Haram insurgents.
We have imposed 24-hour curfew. We will be monitoring this until tomorrow or so.
And Benue State government imposes 24-hour curfew over renewed communal clashes. Hello, good evening, and thank you for joining us on NTN Network News. I'm Joseph Johnson from our broadcast headquarters in Abuja. I will be reading tonight with Michael Olaleye in Lagos and Asmao Habibu Shagari in Sokoto. Easter provides another opportunity for Nigerians to practice unity in diversity. This was demonstrated at an interdenominational service of songs in Abuja to mark the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The Velodrome of the National Stadium played host to this gathering of the faithful from different churches in Abuja. The organizers said the event is to further raise a national altar of praise in committing the nation in God's hand, giving the importance of praise.
All Christians that love Jesus Christ to celebrate, to come together as one and celebrate the love of Jesus Christ. That is what the praise storm is all about.
There is deliverance through praises, and that is the essence of this praise storm. Because when you praise God, you can as well receive deliverance even without prayer.
The praise storm is expected to hold annually in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf, NT News.
Today is Easter Monday, and as Nigerians reflect on the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, guests on NTS flagship program Good Morning Nigeria are calling for the application of their spirituality to daily life so as to create harmony, peace and progress among its diverse citizens. Ololade Alayaki reports.
Amidst the celebration of Easter, while Christians and non-Christians are sharing in the joy of the moment, the clergy have continued to urge Nigerians not to lose the essence of the sacrifice that Jesus made for the world. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria discussed spirituality and nation building, where they submitted that it is possible for a nation or community to be religious, but fail to apply spirituality in their conduct, particularly when it comes to serving others.
That's what we need. That your life finds fulfillment when you serve others, when you love others, when you forgive others, when you have mercy for others. That's all you need.
The Quran is telling us always to give right to the people, their own rights. And when we say they give everyone his right, that means we are building the nation.
The guest noted that Nigeria's challenges cannot be overcome if the virtues of honesty, selflessness, patriotism, tolerance and value for human life are not adopted by adherents of all religions, especially at times like this.
We should now start inch by inch to fight for the right things, to go to work on time, to do the things we are supposed to do, to stand for integrity, to stand for virtue. And it is not easy. That's why the language of sacrifice is important.
Sacrifice in the genuine spiritual sense for anybody who is thinking of salvation boils down to letting go of activities, actions, thoughts, and things that diminish your spirituality.
They also emphasize the need for spiritual leaders to always speak the truth and de-emphasize materialism in their sermons. In Abuja, Ololade Alayaki, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, has emphasized that welfare of troops on the front line remains sacrosanct, considering their sustained determination to defend the territorial integrity of the nation. The Chief of Air Staff stated this at the headquarters of the Air Task Force in Maiduguri while having lunch with personnel in the spirit of the Easter celebration. Abubakar Mohammed Musa reports.
It has been a routine for the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, to wine and dine with troops in the front line during major religious festivities like Easter in order to boost their morale. Felicitating with the gallant soldiers on the occasion of Easter, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar informed them that training and retraining as well as improved welfare are critical in discharging their statutory responsibility of protecting lives and property of the citizenry, while commending personnel for the series of successes recorded so far, especially in winning the war against terror. The Chief of Air Staff assured to address the minimal challenges confronting the Nigerian Air Force for optimum results. He acknowledged the unwavering support being given to the Air Force over the years by Borno State government, the Show of Borno, security organizations and the National Assembly, and therefore called for sustained collaboration.
The Nigerian Air Force will continue to do everything humanly possible to ensure that Nigeria and Nigerians are secure. We continue to acquire platforms with the support of the federal government and the appropriation by the National Assembly.
Air Task Force Commander Operation Lafia Doli, Air Vice Marshal James Mati Gwani, said the Easter lunch with troops demonstrates the unalloyed solidarity and concern the Chief of Air Staff has for airmen and women in the theater, and challenged them to consolidate his efforts by restoring complete normalcy to the Northeast region. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Muhammad Musa, NTA News.
And in a bid to ensure that people in rural communities get access to quality medical services, founder of International Society of Media in Public Health, Moji Makanjuola, has led a free medical outreach to Rogwal community in Karu local government area of Nasarawa State. Suleiman Ove Musa has more.
This crowd of people have one thing in common: seeking for a better healthcare service. This medical outreach was primarily for treatment of common ailments such as diabetes, high blood pressure tests, consultation, among others. This check of health status of people in Rugwa community will provide solution to some of their health challenges as well as to promote personal hygiene.
It is unacceptable that our mothers should die because they are pregnant. It is unacceptable that our children should die from diseases that people just read about them. They don't even treat them except for places like here. It is unacceptable that our men should die from simple things as snake bites, or malaria or diarrhea. So for us, it's a collective responsibility.
Beneficiaries lauded the initiative, appealing to well-meaning Nigerians to emulate the gesture.
We are very happy and we are ready to cooperate with her, and everybody now is jubilating.
We're really enjoying it since yesterday, and even now as I'm talking, I have been tested.
Toiletries and other items were presented to the community for an onward distribution. From Rugwa community in Karu local government area of Nasarawa State, Suleiman Ove Musa, NTA News.
Still on the Easter, it was a rather tragic Easter Monday in Gombe State, where 13 people were reportedly killed following an accident. A vehicle was said to have run into a group of boys' brigade on Easter procession in the state capital. Talatu Laman reports.
It was in the early hours of Easter Monday when a vehicle with 2 occupants ran into a group of boys' brigades who were on Easter procession. 8 people died on the spot, while 3 others at the hospital. It is not yet known whether it was an accident or a deliberate act. The driver and the other occupants of the vehicle were lynched at the scene. Confirming the incident, the Gombe State Commissioner of Health, Dr. Ishaya Kennedy, explained that some of the victims who were rushed to the State Specialist Hospital sustained various degrees of injuries and are currently receiving treatment.
We lost 8. So these ones, there's nothing we can do about them for us in the health facility.
How many are receiving treatments currently?
For now, we've referred 1 to Musaba, 4 to Savannah, 2 to Salem, 6 to Federal Teaching Hospital Gombe, and then others are accommodated here.
Gombe State Deputy Governor Charles Ilia and some religious leaders commiserated with the families of the bereaved and victims of the incident. While condemning the act, they appealed for calmness among the youth.
I want to assure everybody, the Christian community and indeed the entire people of Gombe State, that this thing will not pass deliberated upon.
We are calling on the government to investigate the scenario, to take care of the burial of these ones, to also take care of those that are wounded.
The intervention of security personnel within the metropolis prevented the aggrieved youth from taking laws into their hands. As at the time of packaging this report, security agencies are yet to come up with their position on the situation. In Gombe, Talatu Lamon, NTA News.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has rounded off his trip to the United States and United Kingdom with satisfaction that the internal community is desirous of supporting the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration in making Nigeria work in the overall interest of the citizens. Anthony Forson reports.
The Information and Culture Minister was first in Washington, D.C., where he had his engagements with some international media organizations such as the Washington Post, Al Jazeera, Reuters, Voice of America, Times, and the African Report, among others. With think tanks, he met with the influential Atlantic Council, the Council on Foreign Reforms, Center for Strategic and International Studies, as well as the International Not-for-Profit Corporation, FICAN, also in Washington. From the United States, the minister proceeded to the United Kingdom, where he had similar engagements with the BBC, Sky TV, among others. He made a presentation at the Norton Rose Fulbright and Woodrow breakfast briefing, tagged Nigeria in the Buhari second term, stability, growth and opportunity. In all this, the minister used the opportunity to tell the Nigerian story.
What I take home is that we need to change the narrative. We've done very much. The think tanks and the influential people appreciate what we have done. They know, interestingly enough, they are actually also on the same page with us. But the wider American society, the wider British society is our next target.
When asked to comment on his outing, he simply said,
the kind of reforms they are asking for at the Fulbright breakfast are the kind of reforms that we have already embarked upon. But like I also explained there, Nigeria is a very big country and complex country too, and reforms don't yield results always overnight. We've been successful in Nigeria because our reforms have actually yielded reforms. Both the World Bank and the Mo Ibrahim Index have all, acknowledged the impact of our reforms, and that's why we've won accolades and awards from them. The naira has stabilized around 360 naira to $1 from about 520 in the 2016. We now have a reserve that is biggest in the history of Nigeria, from about $28 billion reserve. Today we have about 45 billion reserve. We have been able to bring the inflation from 18.5% in 2016 to 11.3% today. I think these are the kind of narratives that would interest investors in Nigeria.
The idea behind the minister's visit to the United States and United Kingdom is to correct some erroneous impression that the Nigerian government under President Muhammadu Buhari manipulated the last concluded general elections. Anthony Forson, NTA News.
This is NTN Network News. Time for our first commercial break. The news returns shortly. Stay with us.
Hey, big head. I saw you. Where are you?
I'm at the bus stop.
Okay, dinner is ready and mommy wants you to come home.
Okay, I'm coming as soon as I get a bus.
Keep mixing things.
when you can have all in one. New Mr. Muscle All-Purpose Cleaner. Have the cleaning power, so you can easily dance right through a variety of tough messes like spills and stains, grease and soap scum, and get back to the things you love. New Mr. Muscle All-Purpose Cleaner. Get your power in one. SC Johnson, a family company.
As part of the activities marking its 20th anniversary, the management and staff of the National Space Research and Development Agency, under the leadership of Professor Seidu Mohammed, invites the public to the commissioning of some projects at the NASDA headquarters, Abuja. These include National Space Museum, Planetarium Building, Space Incubation Center, Institute of Space Science and Engineering, Sports Complex, and the Space Environment Laboratory. Date: Wednesday, 24th April 2019. Time 10 a.m. prompt. Special guest of honor, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, Honorable Minister of Science and Technology.
Guest of honor, Senator Ajayi Boroface, Chairman, Senate Committee for Science and Technology. Honorable Benny Law, Chairman, House Committee for Science and Technology.
Chief host, Professor Seidu Mohammed, Director General, NASDA. Dr. Felix Ali, Head, Media and Corporate Communications. Announcer.
Introducing new Always Cotton Soft. Its unique top sheet is as soft as cotton and gentle to your skin, offering you comfortable protection as you go about your day. New Always Cotton Soft, available in long and extra long for 250 naira only.
Inner strength? Yeah, that comes from the hard knocks that life throws at us. And we Nigerians, yeah, we know all about that. We don't stay down. We get up and fight. My name is Anthony Oluwafemi Olasheni Joshua. There's always been a big piece of my heart that's Nigerian. It always said to me, never give up, dream big. Because after all, we come from a nation of warriors, man. And that's why I believe in Glow. We have that same tenacity, that Nigerian fighting spirit. To win, you've got to step in again and again and again. If you believe in yourself, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Yeah, I used to be a bricklayer in England, but now I'm heavyweight champion of the world. Niger, you too much. Glow, I halo.
The verification exercise for the implementation of the HR module of IPs for all federal civil servants in the outstations of core MDAs in the states of the North Central, Northeast, and Northwest geopolitical zones will be conducted from Monday 29th April to Friday 10th May 2019. Affected employees are expected to present themselves along with the original copies of the underlisted documents, employee online records, birth certificates or statutory declaration of age, relevant educational credentials, letter or gazette of first appointment, gazette of confirmation of appointment, last 3 promotion letters, current office ID. Please note that employees not identified by their respective heads will not be attended to. For more information, please see This Day newspapers of Tuesday, 23rd April and Daily Trust newspapers of 24th April 2019. Mrs. Winifred E. Oyoita, Head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Announcer.
In today's world, it's tough being a woman. But thanks to So Clean, Nigeria's #1 detergent with stain magnet technology, doing washing is a whole lot faster and smarter too. Only So Clean has stain magnet technology with an advanced enzyme formula that pulls out even the toughest trapped dirt, just like powerful magnets. No wonder Nigerians love So Clean. So Clean, for a faster, brighter, cleaner wash.
JAMB hereby brings to the notice of its upright UTME candidates that a gang being coordinated from Igara in Edo State with affiliates in Lagos, Ogun, Osun, Abia, Anambra, and Plateau states are circulating fake notice of impending reduction of UTME scores with intent to extort and defraud Farrington candidates. Candidates' results will be received on their registered cell phones as soon as ongoing scrutiny of examination centers are completed and publicly announced. Only fraudulent candidates and parents stand being defrauded on this matter. Announcer, Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB.
This one now, we are going to sit down and relax yourself when you don't, you know. You see this shirt, blue. Hey, see this one. Now for hold up yesterday. Now see this one. Now dive out. Efe, that one do. I see everything where you arrange. Pure. You don't buy your long-lasting insecticidal net, so. See net full everywhere now. Long-lasting insecticidal net, now net where they treat. That one where people they sleep for inside. You don't carry your wife go register for antenatal care. So. No, I say for 8 months for just run out. You see your life? That antenatal care, now there they go give them the intermittent preventive treatment, IPT. And now waiting they stop and prevent malaria be that, my brother. See, just carry your wife, make she go register for antenatal care.
Woman wey get malaria join her belle, then play with her pikin future. Oh. Make you sharply register early and attend antenatal regularly to receive IPT. We go prevent malaria. Now, Government of Nigeria and Rollback Malaria Partner bring you this message for a malaria-free Nigeria. Play your part.
Glad to have you back. The presidency has reacted to the homily by the Catholic Bishop of Yola Diocese, Father Stephen Mamza, who it said broke the old tradition of staying above politics in a homily in which he spoke angrily against President Muhammadu Buhari, describing him as sleeping on duty as Commander-in-Chief. In a statement, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, described their session as an unfair comment. He says there is so much that has changed in the past 3 to 4 years in and around Yola and the Catholic Church in particular that a true assessment would show that, but for the change administration of President Buhari, things would have continued the way they were or even become worse. Now that Boko Haram has been degraded, the more than 400,000 displaced people absorbed by the Adamawa community have all gone back to Borno State and to those council areas in northern Adamawa. In addition to the capital, Yola, the towns of Michika, Madagali and Mubi, which had been occupied by Boko Haram during their military advances, have since been retaken by the Nigerian military, whose personnel are also clearing litters of Boko Haram's carnage and are, through the support of the administration as well as local and international partners, rebuilding roads and bridges, power lines, burnt schools, markets, destroyed churches and mosques. Garba Shehu said the administration's intense security efforts and peace building will not only continue, but will expand in response to such explosions of violence in the country. Now, the federal government's is to come up with a policy that will address misconceptions on the use of modern biotechnology to enhance the nation's food security. Ministry of Science and Technology is to draft the policy in collaboration with relevant agencies, including the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. Musa Baba Aliyu has more.
Nigeria is gradually embracing biotechnology to enhance our national food production, to cushion the effects of environmental factors occasioned by climate change. Scientists are of the view that biotechnology could be the panacea against the use of chemicals to improve yields and control pests and diseases.
Our faculties of agriculture, faculties of veterinary medicine, the whole national agricultural research system, we believe strongly in the powers of biotechnology to significantly contribute to the development of agriculture in this country.
There are, however, misconceptions on the use of the technology, with some environmental activists kicking against the use of the innovation. It is in the light of these that the Ministry of Science and Technology says establishing national biotechnology communication policy will go a long way in addressing the misconceptions.
The federal government of Nigeria has embraced modern biotechnology, and it is here for good. We will continue to engage with the media to inform the public about scientific innovations going on in this sector.
I challenge you media men today.
And this workshop, organized for journalists, especially agriculture, science and environment correspondent, is to further educate them on how to handle issues surrounding the use of biotechnology.
Not just giving out information, but educating people, giving people knowledge.
The training is under the auspices of Forum for Agricultural Biotechnology. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Let's turn our attention to Canada now. Renewable energy development can make remarkable impact in Nigeria if the bottom-up approach, which involves indigenous community control, is adopted. These are the views of solar energy experts in Ontario, Canada, who believe strongly in the power of renewable energy cooperatives at the grassroots in Africa. Let's get details from Joy Osiagu.
From an adaptation point of view, if we are going to a world that is going to be more chaotic in terms of weather, then we also need to move away from a centralized grid system to a distributed grid. And a distributed grid means that you're going to have communities more involved.
To maximize the economic benefits and public endorsement for clean energy sources like wind and solar, community participation and ownership is imperative, as observed by Ontario solar advocates like Matt Zipkin.
And we've seen that here in southern Ontario with wind, so not with solar as much. The reason why they're able to do it is because the people actually want it.
While developed economies like Germany and Denmark have made tremendous progress with the community involvement and ownership, Lisa Olke is pushing for more African countries like Nigeria to get the communities involved in renewable energy projects, as they create a multitude of benefits in comparison to commercially developed projects.
And solar energy doesn't require a huge infrastructure. You don't need transmission lines. You don't need transformers. In Ontario and in Canada, as well as North America, we see Africa as a very, very large emerging market.
Renewable energy enthusiasts in Ontario strongly believe that when the strategies for inclusive economic development are situated within a framework grounded in the traditional values of the people and community investment, countries like Nigeria can overcome the obstacles standing between the people and wealth. In Ontario, Canada, Joy Osiagu, NTA News.
And back home to some security matters. Following renewed joint military offensive in northern Borno, the Boko Haram terrorist group is being restricted to the island of the Lake Chad. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, said this while on Easter an operational visit to troops fighting the Boko Haram in northern Borno. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
These are Chadian troops, Sector 2 of the Multinational Joint Task Force, MNJTF. Alongside their Nigerian counterpart, Sector 3, the tactical mobile fighting formation recently killed 39 Boko Haram terrorists in Cross-Kawa, northern Borno, and liberated people abducted, mostly women and children.
With the joint effort of Multinational Joint Task Force and national operations of all the countries involved, you discover that Boko Haram is now lurking mostly around the borders, especially in the dangerous and inaccessible areas of the Tumbus, the islands. And the best way to undo this is to have concentration of forces.
This is the Easter festive period, and the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, is here to felicitate with troops in the front line, commend their effective collaboration with the Chadian troops and efforts in keeping the terrorists at bay. Addressing special forces in Cross-Kawa Headquarters Sector 2 and troops of the 142 Battalion Mungunu, Lieutenant General Buratai charged them to sustain the current offensive posture.
We must never, ever allow the reverse to be the case again. Now we are on the offensive. We should never be withdrawn back to defensive. The Chief of Army Staff, Nigeria as a whole, appreciate you, and they are doing all possible to liaise with the political leadership to make sure the requirements we are lacking are provided.
He also visited the sick and wounded at the Sector 3 Medical Services, Mungunu. The Multinational Joint Task Force, MNJTF, with headquarters in N'Djamena, Chad, is a combination of mostly troops from the Lake Chad Basin member nations from Kuka local government area of Borno State. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Benue State Acting Governor Benson Abonu has directed the imposition of 24 curfew on Katsina Allah town. This follows the renewed clash between communities in the local government area.
And I understand one side was attacking the other. And this is how it started, like joke, but has now degenerated to a situation whereby we are even having some influx of them into Kasinala town. We have imposed 24-hour curfew. We will be monitoring this until tomorrow or so, and if the situation demands, then we will relax the curfew.
Speaking to NTA News on the development, the acting governor condemned the crisis and warned those involved to stop any further violence. Mr. Abonu said already he has directed the reinforcement of security personnel to the area to forestall further breakdown of law and order.
And what I mean by that is that they must run after these hoodlums wherever they go in order to bring them to justice.
As at the time of filing the report, the extent of damage and number of lives lost could not be ascertained. You're still watching the news on Africa's largest network, the NTA. Let's go over to Lagos to get more stories from Michael. Michael?
Hello, Joseph, and welcome to Lagos. The Federal Controller of Works in Lagos State, Engineer Adedamola Kuti, has reaffirmed the position of the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing that the third mainland bridge is safe for use by the motoring public. Dotun Ogunyemi has details.
This widely circulated video on social media shows a shaking expansion joint on the third mainland bridge. However, the concern raised on the integrity of the bridge has been laid to rest by the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing, declaring that the bridge is safe.
This is the exact spot that was highlighted in the trending video, but there is nothing to worry about as officials of the ministry say they are working to make the replacement of the joints soon. While this is being awaited, other repair works such as the resurfacing of the bridge as well as the underwater investigation of piles are being done. Now, the question is the third mainland bridge safe?
Third mainland bridge is safe, we are on it, and what people have seen is just the expansion joint that is not in good shape, which we discovered since last year. And the displacement is just about 1 cm, and we are going to do that. It's part of our work.
Members of the Nigerian Institute of Civil Engineers also came on an assessment of the spot and called for regular maintenance on all public infrastructure.
In 2008, they had done about 4. He told us in 2012 we had done about 8 of them. This time around they are going to be maintaining about 12 expansion joints. And we're expecting that at the end of this, all these undulations will not be felt anymore. But
the ministry says it is frontally addressing the issue of maintenance across several bridges nationwide. In Lagos, Dotun Ogunyemi, NTA News.
The senior pastor, Household of God Church, Reverend Chris Okotie, has admonished Nigerians to hold on to the promises of God that never fail. He said this at the Easter Day service, where members spent time celebrating the risen Christ. Adiola Omokive reports.
The Easter Sunday celebration at the Household of God Church was characterized by fanfare. Members came with great expectations and were elegant, radiating and dashing in their outfits. Both old and young danced and sang praises to God for saving mankind with the ultimate sacrifice of his Son, Jesus Christ. Reverend Chris Okotie led the celebration parade. In his sermon, Reverend Okotie explained the correlation between the number of days Jesus Christ and Lazarus spent in the grave and its meaning.
In the case of Lazarus, it's the number 4, which speaks of creation. That you see here. And then in the case of the Lord Jesus, it's number 3, which speaks of resurrection. So when you take the 4 and the 3, you put them together, you have the number 7, which means God to rest. Because in Genesis chapter 2, we read that God came to rest on the 7th day of the number 7. And he couldn't do that if creation has not been restored and if the resurrection hasn't taken place.
He said Nigeria occupies a special place in God's agenda.
I just want to mention that God has not forsaken Nigeria. Nigeria is a client nation for God. We occupy a very special place in what we call the eschatological dimensions of the divine protocol. So I just want to give hope to those who have prayed and think that God didn't hear, because delay is no denial.
The church also celebrated the birthday of members born on the 21st of every month, while prayers were offered for the peace of Nigeria. In Lagos, Adeola Omokibo, NTA News.
This is NTA Network News. More reports with Joseph after this commercial break. Stay with us.
Getting around heartburn and indigestion can be tricky if you eat too much. Eat food that is too spicy or greasy, or lie down after eating. Heartburn and indigestion could always be around the corner. When they come, be prepared with Gaviscon Double Action. It works within 3 minutes and lasts up to 8 hours. Gaviscon Double Action. Many causes, one solution.
Here you go.
Madam.
That's it. Those nails are enough.
Hi, dear. Helen! You got so much even after spending so little.
Savings is such a necessity.
You save everywhere, but here, you lose it all.
How?
With this?
Impossible.
New Tika Apic 10X. Even after applying up to 1 liter of your solution multiple times, you won't get the same cleaning that Apic gives you in a single round.
And the expense?
Far less compared to your 1 liter of solution. New Tika Apic. Toughen cleaning, toughen savings.
From our wonderful family, meet Patty for celebrating the high points of life with friends. And then there's me, Jolly, bringing nourishment to every gathering. Packed with healthy nutrition, nourishing vitamins, power of protein, strength of calcium, revitalizing energy. Hollandia yogurt is bursting with goodness inside and out. Hollandia yogurt, it's all good.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the daring and invincible Louis the Mosquito. Responsible for 200 malaria cases all on its own. Is there anything that can kill Louis? Mortine! Presenting Mortine's Power Guard. Its powerful formula kills malaria mosquitoes fast. So, get Mortine's Power Guard.
Darling, what's the matter? It's your birthday. Guests are already waiting at the pool.
It's headache, cold, pains all over my body.
Cold Time Anti-Cold Tablets, powerful ingredients specially prepared to bring you fast relief from headache, body ache, cough, flu, cold, and fever. Baby, how are you feeling now?
Wow, I feel great thanks to Cold Time Tablet.
Cold Time Tablet also available in syrup for children. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Cold Time Anti-Cold Tablet, a quality product from Embassy Pharmaceutical and Chemicals Limited. Cold Time Anti-Cold Tablet, your visa to healthy living.
Life evolves. You should too. 3G is great. 4G is better. Buy an Airtel SIM to enjoy double data on Nigeria's widest 4G network.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
I thought leaving the country was the best decision for me and my future.
I left for a better life.
We were picked up by immigration officials and sent to a detention camp.
I spent 8 months in the detention camp.
There was no food, no water.
I saw people being beaten like animals.
Some women were raped. Some women were sold as slaves.
I thought I would never see my loved ones again.
I have made the biggest mistake of my life.
I have wasted all my savings.
I have to start all over again.
Migration is a human phenomenon which cannot be stopped. But if we choose to migrate, we advocate that it should be done in a safe, orderly, regular and dignified way, and not in a dangerous and tortuous manner.
This message is brought to you by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons.
Thanks for staying with us. We are back in Abuja. Following a credible intelligence, troops of Operation Habin Kunama 3 attacked and killed 6 bandits in Krisa and Sunke in Ankat local government area of Zamfara state. A statement by the acting Army Public Relations Colonel Sagir Musa indicates that several arms and motorcycles were recovered during clearance operation. Similarly, in Doka and Mutu villages in Gusau local government area of Zamfara state, troops on patrol had an encounter with bandits, leading to the arrest of 18 suspected informants into the bandits, including the village heads of Doka and Mutu. The force commander, Major General Hakim Oladapo Otiki, reiterated the resolve of troops to tackle banditry and other forms of criminality in Zamfara, Kebbi, Katsina and Sokoto states. The EN enjoined members of the public to cooperate with security agents by providing information that will assist in addressing criminal activities in the state. Let's talk business news now, and I have with me in the studio Amina Nujem to do just that. Amina, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
So what are you talking about tonight?
Google has an intelligence center, artificial intelligence center in Africa now.
Oh, Nigeria, I hope?
No.
Where?
Ghana.
Oh well. Go ahead.
Just nearby. The federal government says Nigeria is not in any way near a debt crisis despite its 24.39 trillion naira debt. Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed says the debt figure as at December 31st, 2018 comprised euro loans, facilities from the World Bank Group, China, Africa Development Bank constitute more than 80% of the total debt stocks, representing year-on-year growth of 12.25% and higher than 2.662 billion naira in 2017.
Nigeria, we're still very much within our borrowing limits. As you know, today our total debt is 19.1% of our GDP. Our fiscal responsibility commitment is not to exceed 25% of our GDP, so we still have headroom. What we're doing is to increase our revenue generating capacity to ease the burden on debt service and also to improve our expenditure outlays.
Reports from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, indicate that credit to the private sector increased by 5.37% to 24.16 trillion naira. Cooperation survey by the Apex Bank also showed an 11.42% month-on-month credit to government rose to 6.35 trillion naira. The survey further revealed that credit to the private sector increased by 5.37%. That led to a surge of 3.22% month-on-month in borrowed money to 34.79 trillion naira in February 2019 from 33.72 trillion naira in January 2019. Now, this was an 11.8% month-on-month rise in net domestic assets to 17.77 trillion naira. Finally, Google has opened an artificial intelligence research laboratory in Accra, Ghana, the first of its kind in Africa. Mustafa Sise, who will head the center, says the new lab will use artificial intelligence to develop solutions in healthcare, education, and agriculture, adding that artificial intelligence could improve lives and reduce inequalities. Sise, a Senegalese expert in the field, said Google is also working with universities and startups in Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa to enhance artificial intelligence development, and he hopes that specialist engineers and AI researchers will collaborate with local organizations and policy makers. That's about it from the business desk. Joseph, enjoy the rest of your holiday.
Holiday, really? Do we have one?
Just a few hours.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Amina. Okay, we now go over to Sokoto for more news with Asmao. Asmao,
you, Joseph. Good evening and warm welcome to Sokoto. Bishop of Sokoto Diocese Matthew Hassan Kuka has urged Nigerians to imbibe the spirit of love in the interest of united Nigeria. He was speaking at the Easter Mass service held at the Holy Family Cathedral in Sokoto. Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila tells us more.
Easter is the most important feast in the Christian calendar and represents God's redemptive mission over humanity. The day which is meant to commemorate the resurrection of Jesus Christ is also a time to preach the virtues of love, sacrifice, forgiveness, humanity, courage, and endurance, which the Christ exemplifies. In his sermon, Bishop of Sokoto Diocese Matthew Hassan Kuka reminded Christians of Easter season, hence the need to show love to their neighbors and cater for the needs of the less privileged. He frowned at the increase in killings, kidnappings, and violence in the country.
We are terribly worried by the unnecessary and horrendous losses of lives and the unabating level of insecurity, and we continue to call on the government to really be on top of the game.
In their separate Easter messages, leaders of various churches stress the need for Christians to make sacrifice, like Christ died for the salvation of mankind.
Because Easter is about the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and He's alive forever.
Part of the Easter celebration is giving out charity and visitation to orphanages. In Sokoto, Abraham Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
In line with the directives of the Acting Inspector General of Police, Muhammad Adamu, the Nigerian Police in Sokoto has inaugurated Operation Puff Ada to tackle banditry and other criminal activities in the state. Sheikh Muhammad Dati completes the report.
Puff Ada operation is an initiative of the Inspector General of Police, Muhammad Adamu, with the aim of checkmating rising activities of criminals in the country. Inaugurating the operation, the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 10, Muhammad Mustafa, said the objective is to provide adequate security in areas disturbed by the activities of armed bandits. The AIG called on stakeholders, traditional rulers, and spiritual leaders to support the command in ensuring the success of the exercise.
This time around, it is an operation to stamp out this horrendous problem that is facing everybody. In fact, as a matter of fact, in the whole zone.
Commissioner of Police, Sokoto State, Ibrahim Sanika Oji, assured citizens of Sokoto State that traditional rulers, spiritual leaders, vigilante, hunters, and other stakeholders, as well as members of the public, will not be left out in the operation.
For the purpose of achieving maximum result from this operation, the operation areas have been subdivided into different sectors and camps.
Governor Aminu Waziri Tambol, represented by Secretary to the State Government Professor Bashir Garba, described the operation as timely, expressing hope that it will help neutralize internal and external bandit activities across the zone. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
And that's it from Sokoto. It's back to Joseph in Abuja for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Asmal from our Sokoto Network Center there. The FCT Joint Task Force has raided Caramello nightclub operating in a residential area of Otako district and arrested 34 strip dancers. Briefing the media in Abuja, Coordinator Abuja Metropolitan Management Council Umar Shuaibu said the action is in response to a series of complaints from the residents of the area. Shuaibu Nozir Yakubu tells us more.
According to the coordinator Abuja Metropolitan Management Council, Umar Shuaibu, the building plan approval granted was for the development of a health clinic, which was illegally converted to a commercial nightclub. He said the complaint from the resident of the area ranges from noise pollution, nude activities, and traffic gridlock, resulting from high patronage of people to the club, which is located in a residential area.
The FCT administration joint task, which comprises of the Department of Environment Control, Abuja Environmental Protection Board, and the Social Development Secretariat, stormed the premises of the nightclubs within the city, which included Ibiza Club along Otako Christian, and Caramello nightclub. And Caramello nightclub was raided, and over 30 nude dancers were arrested.
Acting Secretary Social Development Secretariat Sefia Omar says the arrested women are presently in police custody.
We are giving them some kind of medical check now. I'm just coming back from the police station where we're trying to evacuate them from the police station to the Social Development Secretariat.
The AMMC coordinator says the exercise will be sustained in order to maintain sanity and order in the Federal Capital Territory. Shuaibu Onozeakubu, NTA News.
Time now to join Chineye Nwoye in Enugu for stories from that end. Hello, Chineye.
Hello, Joseph. Good evening and welcome to Enugu. Finding a lasting solution to the challenges of urban water supply in Enugu metropolis was the agenda of a town hall meeting that brought together stakeholders in the water sector who brainstormed on the way forward. The meeting, which was at the instance of the state governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, is part of the administration's renewed effort at ensuring adequate water supply in the state. Susan Eze has details.
At the meeting, which held at the premises of the Ajali Water Scheme, Ezeago local government, Governor Ugwuanyi regretted that in spite of several efforts by his administration to revamp the water sector in the state, is still facing daunting challenges ranging from aging water installations to environmental and human factors. The governor disclosed that while government is making investments towards the upgrade of existing infrastructure for enhanced water production and distribution, it is hopeful that the $50 million loan the state signed up with the French Development Agency, AFD, for Third National Urban Water Sector Reform Project, when accessed, will bring about total transformation of the state water infrastructure.
We have therefore thought it wise to invite all of you as major stakeholders in the water sector to brainstorm and deliberate on how we can start the journey towards confronting the challenges in the sector.
Participants at the meeting, including staff and management of the State Water Corporation, contractors and water engineers, brainstormed on the challenges which include inadequate power supply and technical know-how with a view to finding permanent solutions. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
The clergy in Enugu have enjoined Nigerians to use the period of Easter celebration for sober reflection, reconciliation, and work towards making Nigeria great again. Yours sincerely reports on the Easter messages by some religious leaders in Enugu, as well as on the significance of the Lenten period. The 40 days period is a time when Christians world over fast and pray for the atonement of their sins. During this period, they seek the face of God, avoid every form of sin, imbibe a positive attitude by helping the needy, showing love to neighbors, and giving alms to the less privileged. They try to emulate the righteous life lived by Jesus Christ and forgive those who offend them. For the clergy, living a righteous life should not only be for a time like this alone, but always. They therefore stress the need for Nigerians to imbibe the spirit of tolerance, love, and forgiveness.
God has reconciled man to himself, so we should be reconciled to ourselves. We should eschew bigotry, religious bigotry, hatred, envy, jealousy, and we must, as much as possible, live in light and not darkness. And then try as much as possible to project righteousness in our lives, and also make sure that all of us work together in love to project Nigeria.
We have to live like the Easter people, dropping our bad habits and then living according to the teachings of Christ. What does that mean? That those who were immersed in one kind of crime or the other will drop them and begin to behave like Christ.
The essence of Easter is final destination of life. Every other religion or all religions in the world are seeking way back to God.
Christ's resurrection remains a moment of joy and sober reflection for Christians as it signifies the birth of a new life. And that's it from Enugu. Joseph, it's back to you in Abuja for more on the network news. Good evening.
Thank you, Chineye. It's time for another break. We're back shortly. Stay with us.
Team huddle. But we lost.
Don't be tired, guys. This isn't a loss. It's a practice for winning.
Nothing makes a mother prouder than seeing her child growing up. But I know as he learns to lead, he'll face even more dirt, germs, and risk of illness.
That's why in changing seasons, you need strong Dettol protection. Because Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Let's check in on sports now. The 2019 Africa Nations Beach Volleyball Cup Senior serves off in Abuja as Nigeria Curling Federation unveils equipment in Lagos. Olumide Guntela has these and more on Sports Update.